Okay, TB Nation, it's time to talk about Dave Smith. I've had no internet access for a month, and now I know why. I was finally able to trace the block back to the residence of one Dave Smith. It seems Dave doesn't want the truth to emerge, but it's time the public finally knew. So before he was a political pundit and the lord of libertarians, you might be surprised to learn growing up Dave was anything but serious. Friends and family have confirmed, as a child Dave Smith was the wild ADD kid that couldn't sit still. He was known for getting in trouble by always making silly faces and being an all-around rambunctious youth. And apparently the only subject he didn't flunk was theater. There was something about performing that could focus his wild energy, at least temporarily. But apparently during his sophomore year-end play, Dave's ADD got the best of him. And during a pivotal scene in their school's version of Hamlet, Dave yelled out the words, "fart machine." Well, this got him banned from the school's acting program and sent Dave into a spiral. And it's during this dark time when Dave Smith starts listening to rap music. It wasn't long before Dave found himself writing angry rhymes about being kicked out of his acting class. But thanks to advancements in the field of medicine, by the time Dave's in college, they've developed an amazingly powerful ADD medicine not usually available to the public. But with his family's deep pockets and connections to the Rockefellers, Dave was able to get prescribed this secretive drug, Celtium 240. And this drug is actually what the movie Limitless was based on. And while the film stretched the drug's abilities for the sake of the movie, this new medicine was indeed incredibly powerful. And this is the same drug that powered Matthew McConaughey through his epic 5-hour pep talk that no one has since asked about. So Dave Smith goes from the out-of-control wild child in high school to an A-list student in college overnight. He could finally focus and pay hyper attention. And it's during this era where Dave starts to build a new persona. He was no longer the silly kid. He was now smart and finally being taken seriously. But these anti-silly pills Dave was now relying on had very specific guidelines, and like most medications, was not intended to be mixed with alcohol. So while Dave explored young adulthood in college and tried drinking, he had no idea he was canceling out the Celtium 240. And soon enough, Dave had slipped back into sillyhood and found himself joining what might be the lowest ranks of all, comedy improv rap. Well, at some point, Dave's parents came to visit him in college and were horrified to see their son doing comedic rap, and immediately knew something was wrong. Now, thankfully, as soon as Dave stopped drinking alcohol, his anti-silly pills kicked back in and he went back to being a straight-A student. And after college, Dave used his brilliant mind to see into the future and make some critical investments. He made his first chunk of money off of investing in beanies with hat bills. Now, these billed beanies might have only been a temporary trend, but Dave walked away with thousands. Most importantly, Dave used these earnings to copyright the use of rap hands. That's right, every time you see a young rapper relying on hand gesticulations and meaningless movements to keep your engagement, Dave Smith gets paid. But before Dave made his millions, he was spending his time playing long-term mind games with local business owners. You see, if you watched the movie Limitless, you'd know that after a while there are some negative side effects to Celtium 240, one of them being the constant craving for stimulation for an overly intelligent brain. Eventually, solving real-world problems or making money is of no interest, and long-term Celtium users have reported playing Zodiac Killer-like mind games with entire cities just for mental stimulation. And this is how Dave Smith meets Louis J. Gomez, after replying to his ad in the local paper seeking local smart guy to do crime with. And once these two teamed up, there was no stopping the scamming. Their first victim was one Jesse Camp, former winner of the Win a Chance to be an MTV VJ competition on MTV. Now, if you don't remember, Jesse was the pseudo-hippie weird contestant who seemed to have no real knowledge or interest in music itself. See, Jesse was really gullible and just kind of went along with things. And that's how Dave and Louis talked him into putting out an album of his own, Jesse Camp and the 8th Street Kids. It was, of course, humiliating. And one night after tricking Jesse into ingesting human feces, Dave and Louis decided to focus their futures on the disturbing world of comedy. And that's how these two scoundrels pivoted into stand-up, where everyone is a sexual deviant or criminal of some type. And we all know how these two corrupted the then evangelical Christian Big J. Okerson and got him addicted to pretending to smoke cigarettes. So while you might see Dave on televised debates flexing against today's most brilliant minds, he really has no geopolitical agenda. His only aim is continued access to Celtium-240. And with US trade embargoes constantly fluctuating, Dave has inserted himself on the global stage to protect his precious drug. There's plenty more strange things about this guy, like the time he talked the German 90s electro-pop group Real McCoy into reforming and flying to New York to perform on Legion of Skanks, only to find out they had been pranked and were forced to perform in the nude while fans threw ice cubes at them. But we'll have to save that for another time. Until then, Dave Smith, you're a total bitch. Okay everyone, as I said, I've been lost at sea with no navigation for a month thanks to Mr. Limitless, but I finally ran into land. I didn't have any time to gather supplies once I heard the Austin Mafia boats approaching, so I ran off into the wilderness to send this report via a hacked Tamagotchi and to wait it out until the morning. I have no idea where I am, but let's hope it's New York City. TB Nation, rise up.